and in today's video we are going to be looking at speaker responsibilities. We'll begin with the first affirmative, or the 1A. You're going to have several things that you're going to be doing throughout the debate. The first are the obvious ones. You're going to give the 1AC a 9-minute speech, and you're going to give the 1AR a 6-minute speech. You are also going to cross-X the 1NC. Other responsibilities that you will have either during the debate or prior to the debate is you will be backflowing if the 2A requires it or wants it after the 2AC is given. What that means is you will take the parts of the flow that the 2A's flows where they didn't get the cards written down, the tags and the citations from when they gave their speech, and you will take those pieces of paper or those flows and you will fill in all of the things they're missing from their flow after their speech. That way you both have a comparable or similar flow to work from for the rest of the debate. You will also, prior and maybe even during tournaments, write 1AR blocks to 2AC front lines. You will take the 2AC front lines, you will look at them, you and your colleague will figure out what strategies or plays you want to implement throughout a debate, and you will try to write pre-prepared 1AR blocks that can just be edited in any particular debate to give them a little bit more context. And then the last thing that 1As are notorious for doing, and kind of one of their last responsibilities, is after the 1AR is given, the 2A might ask you to type out an explanation for the 2AR on certain arguments, certain pieces of paper, to sort of save prep time after the 2NR is given. The second responsibility or role we will talk about is the second affirmative, or the 2A. Again, the two obvious ones are you're going to give the 2AR or the 2AC and the 2AR. You are also going to cross-X the 2NC. The 2A is also the captain of the aft ship, so they kind of have veto power in deciding what arguments the 1AR should go for, because ultimately the 1AR is about setting up 2AR arguments. You will write and develop 2AC front lines. That way you don't have to spend a bunch of prep time before the 2AC preparing answers to common arguments that are going to be had against your affirmative. The next thing that second affirmatives or 2As are should be doing is they will lead discussions with their coach and with their 1A in discussing the best ways to beat arguments. And with that, there will be communication that occurs about what the best plays or strategies are to beat particular arguments and what arguments the 2A really wants to be going for against a particular position that the negative might present. So we've looked at the affirmative side, now it's time to look at the negative side. The first negative, or 1N. The obvious ones, again, are give the 1NC, give the 1NR. You will cross-X the 2AC. The big things for the 1N is that you must be on the same page as the 2N so that you can make sure to split up the block and ensure that you're not over-covering or double-covering any of the arguments that were made in the 2AC, and make sure your positions are fully developed. You should also be willing to prepare front lines to common 2AC arguments for positions that you typically go for. This could be whether you have a disad that you like going for in the 1NR, you have certain case arguments that you go for pretty consistently, or maybe a T argument. Whatever it is, the 2AC responses are generally pretty predictable, especially after a couple of tournaments, so it's your job as a 1N to kind of treat that position with care and make sure that you've always got things prepared and ready to go to answer 2AC arguments. And last but not least, we've got the second negative, or the 2N. The obvious ones are give the 2NC, give the 2NR, and cross-X the 1AC. You are going to be the captain of the negative ship. You should know the preferred strategies against different AFs, specifically the different types of styles of AFs, whether they be policy, whether they be critical, what type of critical affirmatives are they, what type of policy AFs are they. Know the differences in the type of AFs that people are running, and know kind of what arguments you sort of plan on going for against those affirmatives. The 2N should also have ideas and thought about how they might want the negative block to be split up, to make sure that, those things are ready to go, and that there isn't a bunch of confusion or discussion occurring right after the 2AC. You should also, as a 2N, develop a playbook for each tournament. You can find the playbook video down lower on the website, but what that involves is making sure that you know what affirmatives with what advantages and what arguments 1ACs are making, so that you know what you want to go for without having to spend a lot of time digging through cards or digging with arguments or having uncertainty about what the 1NC should be for any given debate. And lastly, you're going to write front lines to common 2AC arguments for the positions that are being featured in your playbook. You want to make sure that you are prepared and ready to go and can save the most prep time possible for the 2NR, so that things can have the nuance and spin that are necessary in order for you to win the ballot.